Welcome to Designing Your Life Today, the podcast designed for people who want to build a magnificent life, profitable business, and lots of wealth. Everything you desire is waiting for you to claim it. There's no creating involved, only invention through imagination and building through action. You are at the center of all your desires, dreams, and achievements. Welcome to Designing Your Life Today, the podcast that's all about your success, achieving your goals, building wealth through your business, and building your most passionate, powerful, magnificent life. Discover ways to use your purpose to connect you to serving others and living your dreams. I am Pat Council, and I know you are built by design to win. And it all begins with knowing how to tap into your success energy. Let's get on the path of discovery, decisive action, development, and unwavering dedication to your life's calling. It's time to embark on a transformative journey where your deepest passions become your most rewarding achievements. Embrace your power to shape your destiny, because this is your moment to do life with power. Hello, Power Up Nation. Pat Council here to talk about, is it time to switch your thinking? Now, when we talk about switch, think about a light switch, and we'll get back to that in a moment. But before we jump into our topic for today, I just want to remind you that we do have our Build Your Own Income masterclass that's coming back by popular demand. Some people missed it. They didn't get the opportunity to participate. So we're going to be bringing that back as a part of our Summer Success series. As a new part of our series, we have a couple of new things coming up. Love Yourself to Wealth. Now that's for women, and guys, you can participate, but I promise you there's going to be some girl talk there, but it's going to be fun and it's going to be positive. We're also going to launch Build Your Own Magnificent Life Masterclass, because the two kind of match. Your personal life, what goes on in your personal life as far as personal growth is concerned, as well as business growth, or as far as personal growth and business growth are concerned, the two are connected. So you want to make sure that you have both in as much order as possible. Because you're going to have those challenges on the business side. And you know what? You need that strength that comes from you personally so that you can kind of weather those storms. And of course, you need what comes from the business side. You need that business success so that you can have the income that you need to take care of any of the issues of life that you need to take care of, any of the things. And when I talk about issues, I'm talking about food, clothing, shelter, being able to pay bills, being able to help other people, being able to take care of your family, these kinds of things. So the two match. On the personal side, just really quickly, and then we're going to get into our topic for today. On the personal side, when it comes to you really having that personal growth and having that personal life in order and constantly working to strengthen your personal life, your mind is going to open up. You're going to open up. You're going to feel more confident about building that business. So the two work together. So that's why we're going to launch our masterclass, Build Your Own Magnificent Life, in September. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. And finally, two more things. I'm going to be talking about my new book towards the end of this month. And coming up, you will see some interviews from some of my coaching students that I worked with. And I picked these particular coaching students because the businesses that they're in, it kind of adds to summer fun and even fun in the fall. So you're going to be able to see those interviews live on YouTube. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about switching your thinking. Is it time? Now, here's the reason I wanted to talk about this. Here's why, is because we're being told by the outside world how to think, what to think, and really what choices we should make. And if we don't make the right choices, then there's something wrong with us. Now, when I talk about switching your thinking, I'm also going to share a couple of things you can do to help kind of switch your thinking such that it works for you. Because even though we're being told by the outside world and everything that's coming at us that this is who you are, this is who you should be, this is the direction you should go in, isn't it funny that if we follow, or when we follow all of that, somehow life just does not seem to get better. There's always a new challenge. There's always a new shortage. There's always a new issue. And somehow that issue seems to affect your life because someone else is telling you that this is the problem. So what do? We put our attention on the problem that exists, and we stress ourselves out, and we start to worry about things, oddly enough, that, well, we can't control, unless you're one of the people who can come up with solutions to help solve whatever problem that has been created. I hope you guys do realize that while there are some so-called problems when it comes to that's out of our control, like hurricanes and tornadoes and things of that nature. So we have that to deal with. But outside of acts of what they call acts of God, I prefer to call it acts of nature, but hey, teach his own. Outside of that, most problems are man-made. They're created. And so as a result, us being human, those problems trickle down to us. So when it comes to you getting the lifestyle that you want, building your magnificent life, getting to where it is you truly want to be, and putting your attention on being the best that you can possibly be, so that all those creative ideas can flow through you. So if you're running a business, so that you can have the best business ever, because I'm of the belief that if everybody who starts a business and they're putting their attention where it belongs, namely, mainly running that business and being the best that they can be, connecting with the people they need to connect with, collaborating with people they need to collaborate with, communicating effectively, and the list could go on and on. I'm of the belief that if they do that, instead of worrying about the things that other people keep trying to tell us that we need to worry about, things that on some that we kind of can't control. But if you put your attention on the things that you can control, mainly the business, and now it starts to thrive, I'm guessing you're not going to be as worried. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be insensitive and say, okay, hey, that's their problem, not mine. No, we live, and here in America, we live in this big fishbowl together. So we have to kind of help each other out, be concerned for each other. But the best way to help a person is to bring your gifts and talents to the table and be your very best at it. So when it comes to switching your thinking, I say switch your thinking instead of changing your thinking, because it is about transforming your mind. Okay. And the Bible tells us to be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So we transform our mind. And I thought about a light switch. So when the switch is down, the light is off. So there's no current. There's no energy. There's no kind of activity of any kind happening there that you can see. However, when you flip the switch up, all of a sudden the lights come on, you can see things better, and you can maneuver better. So when it comes to your thinking, is it time to switch your thinking? Is it time for you to really start paying attention to what's going on through your mind? Because the reality of it is, you guys, is that if you want a better life, then you must take a look at what's going on inside you and decide if it's time to change your self-concept. See, we've been given a concept of self. This is not your self-esteem. This is not about self-confidence. Self-concept is that overall picture that you have about you and your life and how you fit into this world that we live in. You see, when people look at the world and say, oh my goodness, there's so many problems in the world, then you know what's happening? Then they become a part of the problem because that's all they can see is problems. So problems is all they can bring into their lives. And the behavior that they're going to exhibit will connect them to those problems. But when you start to see solutions, when you start to see your world as a better place, when you start to see the role that you're meant to play in this world that we live in, and mainly through bringing your amazing gifts and talents to mainstream, starting a business and putting it out there, when you start to see that, now things are changing, going to change for you for the better. Why? Because you're going to be drawn to things that will allow you to, let's say, amplify and elevate your life by going to the next level. And what is the next level all about in this case? Well, in this case, the next level is about you actually stepping up to that higher space in your life. Okay, because you're thinking on a higher level, you're stepping up to a higher space in your life and you're doing more good. You're doing things that actually not only excite you, but they excite other people because you're putting something great into someone else's life. Now, this does not matter what the profession is. And when I say it doesn't matter what the profession is, I'm talking about a profession where it's about giving and not taking. Okay, so any profession where you are giving, okay, where you're giving some type of service or you are offering some type of product that's going to help people. And that includes entertainment, helping people laugh and feel better and think better. Okay, all across the board. So it doesn't matter as long as you're giving. And you know you're giving the right thing when you are being uniquely you and authentically operating in your God-given gift and talent. So you're divinely inspired. And how do you know? You say, well, how do I know if I'm divinely inspired? Okay, you know you're divinely inspired where you can't, when you can't wait to wake up the next day and bring your amazing gift to the world. When you can't wait to wake up and deliver whatever you were made to do. Why are your purpose? Deliver your purpose for being here on this earth to the rest of us. Share it with the rest of us. So when it comes to switching your thinking, that's what happens. So when you flip that switch up and you say, you know what? Oh, on comes the light. That means you're saying, I'm going to be the light in someone else's life. I'm going to bring light into someone else's life simply by being who it is I was designed to be, sharing what I'm designed to share. So think about that and ask yourself, you know what? Is it time to switch my thinking? When we are in a service capacity, I can tell you the light is always on and the light is always being shared. So when I talk about and in a few moments, I'm going to give you guys perhaps a couple of things or some examples of what you can do to kind of switch your thinking, turn that light on. However, but when we think about, switching your thinking, this is about transforming your self-concept, which I shared is on the inside. This is all about what's going on inside you. Because here's the thing, real transformation actually begins on the inside. And at the end of all of this, it's important that you have enough courage to do that. You do that by reminding yourself that nothing changes from the outside in. And this is why when you're expecting the politicians to fix your life, it's not going to happen. It's amazing how people get into arguments over who to vote for and all of this. We're in an election season here in America. And I keep saying America for those of you in America who are saying, why does she keep saying that? It's because this podcast is actually trending in, I think, about 55 countries now. So I just kind of home base America. So nothing is going to change from the outside. So if you're looking to politicians, and I'm not telling you guys not to vote, what I'm saying is you do your civic duty, of course, but the other side to that, or the most important thing that you can do to make your environment better, no matter where you are, is to really switch your thinking and pay attention to how you see the world that you're living in. If you see doom and gloom, that's what it's going to be. But when you switch your thinking, you flip that switch and you say, you know what, I have a light inside and I'm going to share that light with other people. I'm going to give it my very best. And as a result, that piece of let's say this country gets better. And for those of you in this case, this is across the world. That piece of your piece of the world becomes better. So switch your thinking towards the highest and best. Switch your thinking towards opening up so that you can be your best. Switch your thinking to accepting the best into your life and knowing that you deserve to have that. So here's the thing I want to share with you as we start to wrap up. I promise to give you an example of what you can do to actually switch your thinking. You know, the Bible tells us, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you think doom and gloom, if you think worry, if you think lack, if you think anything, there's just not going to be enough, if you think illness and you're afraid of these things, as you think, so shall you be. So when we talk about switching your thinking, the first thing you want to do is take the time to become aware. What is going on in your mind? And ask yourself the questions. How did those thoughts get there? Is it because I watch the news all the time? Which, by the way, I do not. But this is a hypothetical I'm giving you. So is it because I watch the news all the time? Is it because I sit around and I talk about negative things all the time? Is it because I tolerate the idea that I'm supposed to be less than because someone else has painted a picture of me that I find to be unacceptable? Yet I convince myself, what can you do? So if this is you, if you think like that, then it's time to think about switching your thinking. So you want to ask yourself the right questions. That's one of the best ways to start to switch your thinking, is to first realize what's going on in your mind. Now, granted, we go through these periods where we're worried or we have a little fear pop up, but the object of the game is for you to ask yourself the right questions. Whenever you ask yourself the right questions, you're always going to get an answer of some kind. And the right question would be, you know, what is my purpose? And if I want abundance, what is abundance all about? And what does it mean to me? Okay, so ask yourself those questions, because the other side to that is you want to keep in mind that in your thought process, and this will tell you if you need to switch your thinking. If you find yourself criticizing things and other people, then guess what? Whether we want to accept it or not, your I am factor kicks in. So what is the I am factor? Well, I am factor connects you to your spiritual self, which is the most powerful part of who you are. And this is, you know, not just because I say so, because you're a spiritual being in a human body, a fleshly body. So the point that I'm making is when you say I am, and whatever you fill in the blank, you could say, you know, I am wealthy, or I am becoming wealthy, or I am grateful and excited about the wealth that's flowing into my life. And so when you start to say those things, it makes you feel stronger. You're switching your thinking. You're turning on your light so that you can get the things that you desire into your life, so that you can help others as well as yourself. Okay. However, the other side to that, so we use the I am factor to switch our thinking. Okay. But here's my caveat. You guys know, if you've been listening to this podcast any length of time, you know, periodically I will give you a caveat as much as possible. The caveat is I am, because it is a part of your spiritual self. If you attach something negative to it, well, that becomes alive as well. You just won't feel as good, and you're going to get those results and you won't like it. So here's the thing that you want to pay attention to. When you switch your thinking on and you're letting your light shine, now you don't have time to criticize. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that, well, if they criticize someone else, then they're pretty much criticizing themselves, because we're all connected on some level. Okay, you don't have to believe me. You can actually try it and you'll see how it all plays out. Criticize other people and watch how you start to have a really crappy day in time. It'll pop up and all of a sudden you wonder, why do these things keep happening to me? These unpleasant things. Well, they're happening because you are in critical mode and you're criticizing. Okay. And so when it comes to switching your thinking, you want to define who you really are on the side of positivity and power. Okay, when a person says, I am excited and grateful for the overflowing abundance that comes into my life, that's power. Okay, but if a person says, oh, I am so tired. First of all, nobody wants to hear that all the time. But here's the thing, that's what you're going to be. Okay, so you want to think about that. And see, that's an easy technique to use. So take the time to define your I am and put some power behind it. If you see yourself as poor or weak and unfulfilled, then you know what? That's what you're going to get. Okay, so now your thinking is switched off because you've bought into the idea that someone has convinced you that this is who you are. And so as we start to wrap up, let me leave you with this technique also that you can use. So, you can use the I am factor to immediately kind of switch your thinking. And what's the big deal about all this? This is so you can draw into your life the things that you desire to have. Okay, finally, I want to leave you with this part is that if let's say you have a need and you want to make your life better. You want to bring more into your life. So whenever there's a need, whenever a need comes to mind, what you want to do is you want to identify it consciously. Okay, so there you go. See, you're switching your thinking on now. So you identify it consciously and then you turn within. Again, remember I said, you transform from the inside, not the outside. You recognize that your higher self is the immediate answer. So this is why you want to switch your thinking. When you switch your thinking, you're coming from inside out. You manifest your life from the inside out. This is why, and I could talk about this for a lot longer, but we're going to wrap up here. This is why a lot of people complain about their jobs. They complain about how much they hate their jobs. Why? Because they're looking to the outside. They're looking to someone, okay, I'm going to work for you and you give me a paycheck, even though this is not my calling, even though I really don't want to do this. So they're not satisfied with their life. But you know what? When you switch your thinking and start to transform from the inside out, now you're on purpose. Your energy is higher. You're more excited about life. And I promise you guys, this is not some kind of motivational thing. This is a spiritual fact because this is supported by spiritual law. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So switch your thinking so that you can let your light shine. And when you turn that light on, okay, the light's going to come on inside you first, and then people will see you will change. They will see who you are. They will see the real you. And the real you is your higher self, that self that allows you to bring the best into your life. I talk about, or my company's called Power Up Nation, because it is all about you understanding the power in you, how you're made. And understand this, that you can't get any results if you don't allow your power to come forward. And the only way it can come forward, it has to come through you. The power can work for you only if it can work through you. So if it has to come through you, that means it's coming from the inside. So is it time to switch your thinking? Put your attention on the life that you desire to have most. This is what having your magnificent life is all about. Put your attention on that. And then when you can do that, now, all of a sudden, you're not so stressed out. You're not worried about, are things going to happen? They're going to fall in place. And one of the ways they fall in place, I don't want you to think it's going to magically happen. It's going to happen because you're going to have to do some work. I always have to remind people, you have to put some effort into it. So I actually have to take some kind of physical action. But before you can take that physical action, you must become. Okay. And that's about your self-concept. Okay. Figuring out who you really are, understanding who you are. And as I continue to share information on this podcast, I hope to give you some insight into how powerful you really are, how capable, and what you can do with all of that so you can get the results that you desire for your life. If you want more into your life, then use what you have. Okay. Contemplate. Okay. That in your life, whatever it is you want, that it's appearing. Let's say if you want more money, then contemplate lavish abundance and think that everything that you have an all sufficiency of supply with the divine surplus. That's not going to come from outside. Okay. I've said this on my podcast for years, and I'll say this and then I'm done talking, at least for the moment. I've said this, that when it comes to our government, it's important that you do your civic duty. Okay. And be responsible about it. I encourage you not to vote or take action based on just pure emotion. However, no matter what you're being offered, the government will never, ever be able to give you everything that you want. The kind of money, the little raise, whatever it is they're going to give you, it is never going to be enough if you are not flowing with who you really are. If you are not operating from your true self-concept or that higher self-concept, if you're not operating from that, you're going to always be wanting more. That's why so many people complain about government or complain about not having enough. Okay. Because they don't understand about their self-confidence or self-concept rather. Listen, you guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening to Designing Your Life Today. We're going to be back with more. In the meantime, do life with power because you're built by design to win.